Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts. Welcome back, guys.
Hello, guys.
So, we're going to start here where we left off on the Evolutionary channel. Before I forget, let's just take care of this. Make sure or double check, see if you're still subscribed to Evolutionary Energy Arts and also the other channel, EEARTS. And we do want to thank our Patreons for their support.
Yes, we do.
And also those that are supporting us on Ko-Fi, where you could do a one-time donation, or you could also do monthly support just like you can do over on Patreon. Do check out Medicinal Foods. Really good people, really good products. As we always are saying, you got to be detoxing and boosting your immune system with all those spiky proteins just wafting down from those silly little clouds.
I know. We really need to prioritize that. Very, very important.
Most definitely. And do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com and get to know more about us. So, here we go. This is over in France. And there's been a lot of, well, you know what's going on. PROTESTSs. How do you say rude? That was just a little bit rude. I don't know how you say rude in French.
It's so cold. It's just cold.
Yeah, that's just... Okay. Well, I'll let you guys comment on that. So this is some interesting military planes as far as activity in Central Oregon. And this is our brother John, born again Buddhist, that's sharing this.
Hey, John.
Hey there, John. He said that this has been ongoing, and he said we could go ahead and show.
There we go. Two planes now. One flying east and one flying west. They're going to use the airport out here, or maybe the one out in Paisley is a military base. Something's going on. Never seen anything like this. We've had jets out here flying around years ago, but nothing like this. This is, well, at least the back ends are closed now. They were open before. This is just weird. Man, they kind of messed up my day, all this noise.
Well, they definitely interfere with your meditation, and then I know John likes his meditation.
Yes, he does.
And, there's just a ton of activity. That will definitely give you some knots in the pit of your stomach. Lots of activity going on. Obviously, this is, and we've known that this time it's different, but then in many other, forums, you'll see people saying, nothing's going to happen. You'll see, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, it's different this time.
Well, it's definitely building, and I've had friends also send me video from Texas and Arizona of train loads of the tanks. So we got so much of this going on.
Absolutely. The insanity never stops. And here is a message from Tulsi Gabbard.
Something you are not going to hear on the mainstream media. What you do hear is warmongers arguing that we must protect Ukraine because it is a quote-unquote democracy. But they're lying. Ukraine isn't actually a democracy. For example, to hold on to power, Ukraine's president shut down the 3 TV stations that were openly criticizing him and his policies, imprisoned the head of the opposition political party that had come in second place in their elections, and went and arrested and jailed that party's leaders. This is exactly what Putin has been accused of doing. But Ukraine did this all with the support of the United States.
Yeah, it's, what can you say? Now, is that disinformation because it's something that goes against what people, the powers that be don't want you hearing? But they're facts. They're just facts. It's just throwing facts out there. That's all. As we see, the air bridge continues. Boy, again, we've been, watching this more and more. And, again, this is just not the same old. This time it's different. Doesn't mean there could be a de-escalation. There could be. Again, part of this is all about loosh. It's all about creating the negative emotions. It's all about slowing ascension, because ascension is really, it's the number one topic. Everything else is really about the controllers slowing the ascension process.
Right, so they can keep the energies more for themselves, as we move along and we evolve. They like to throw those cogs in the wheel, just to slow it down so they can elongate their time.
Mm-hmm. It's inevitable. They're going to fall. Their empire, the dark, evil empire, is going to collapse. It's just a matter of time. And we see JB warning Putin that U.S. military response is on the table in an hour-long call. And, at the same time, we got Russia issuing warnings on back. And, obviously, this is just complete BS insanity.
Right. It's a lot of back and forth, and it's a lot of, rattling cages and so on and so forth.
Not, trying to, and I know this video is there's no way it's going to get monetized. We've just kind of resigned ourselves to the fact, and, we're just glad that we're, stocked up enough so that, we could live for a while off the food supplies we have if no money comes in. But at the same time, we're not worried about it because, we have a job to do, and many people are doing that. Many people are saying, shoot, I just can't shut up at this point. I got to speak the truth. I got to speak my truth. I got to wake people up, even if it's, maybe a little bit dangerous in some ways.
And I think that's the point. It's you got to speak your truth. What is your truth? There's a whole lot of information out there, but what stream do you place yourself in? What do you support for yourself? And then allow other people to have their versions of support for the whole thing.
It's like you wonder what the talks are really about. So you have JB on one side and you have Vlad on the other side. And, are they really trying to hash things out, or is it more like, oh, now how does, Vlad, tell me again, how is it going to go? Okay, you're going to shoot over here, and then am I supposed to shoot back, or do we wait? What's the script? Did you check with the bosses? What's going on, really?
Right. It's not like they have anything to do for themselves in an original way. No, this is being handed down.
Absolutely. They don't make any decisions. If you're still thinking, and I know most of the people that watch these videos are awake, if we're still thinking these politicians make any real substantive decisions, besides, maybe their own dinner or their own brand of vodka, that's about it. And JB needs somebody to remind him to put his Depends on every day. That's pretty apparent, too.
And I think that's fair.
It is. It is. It could be a messy situation. It definitely could be. We don't want that type of a mess. But they are making a mess out of this world. And you have the U.S. and Russia evacuating embassies in the Ukraine as it enters uncharted territory. There's no reason for this. Isn't it coincidental, too, the certain family ties that there exists, and we're talking about this country, that, there's these family ties with that family that happens to be at least in the set of the apparent White House, at least in the set that looks like the White House.
Right, that's the thing. It looks like the White House.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, that fence just keeps getting higher, and there's more and more layers to it. If you did a job that the people approved of, you wouldn't need fences to keep the people out.
And I gotta tell you, it just drives me crazy knowing that that's our tax dollars at work keeping us out of something that we built.
Oh, wait till you see one of the last things we're going to cover. It's mind-blowing. And so the U.S. deploys F-16s now to Romania as well, as NATO is mulling permanent Black Sea battle groups. Again, DEAGEL numbers. People have looked at them, but the one thing that I would say about those numbers again is that it's the NATO countries and U.S. allies that show a huge loss. Huge. Not the rest of the countries of the world. There's much more going on, beneath the surface than the obvious. And reports of an explosion in the eastern Ukraine. Obviously, there's a lot of tension there. Several unverified reports, but there's many that have been reporting this, have claimed that there was a large bang that could be heard in the territory of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic in eastern Ukraine on Saturday. Some alleged eyewitnesses said they felt a shock wave. Interesting. And, how many of you guys woke up this morning tentatively, getting to your phones or your computer on and going to check the news, wondering, did it start?
I know, it is. It has that air to it, It's like wondering, what went on? Like Mike thought he saw a little bit of snowflakes this morning, but they were these white things, and the first thing I think of is some kind of a bomb or a volcano.
Yeah, she was thinking, she's like, is it ash? Because I know, it got a lot colder today. We were 70s yesterday, and now we're only in the high 40s. And for us, that's pretty damn cold in this area for this time. And yet there's these things coming down, but it just turned out that there's just some sort of little bugs. Yeah, I haven't seen them before. Who knows? Were they released from some aircraft up in the air to spread something? Nothing would surprise you in this world. So Russia says a U.S. submarine violated its waters in the Far East. And this was over in the Kuril Islands area, which again, some of these islands, when you get down close to, Japan, there's some islands that have been in dispute going all the way back, I think all the way back to World War II. Yeah. And, interesting. There's so many triggers. There's so much going on. There's so much going on, like in Syria, which, is always, and I didn't check one thing just to show you guys, there's so much going on that you just don't hear about. And just looking at some of the headlines from South Front, casualties reported following a new Turkish drone strike on northeastern Syria. I feel so bad for the people of Syria. So bad. These people have been through hell. And there's so much going on there every single day. Central Syria, Russian airstrikes kill and wound scores of ISIS terrorists, or ISIL, or whatever you want to call them. There's so many of these, quote unquote, these group terrorists that are truly, they're just contractors, and they'll jump sides in a moment depending on who's going to pay them more. And it's just a crazy world, and you could see it's just never ending. It's just never ending, and the people of the world suffer needlessly because these wars don't ever solve anything, and they're not even about winning a war nowadays. What war ends up conclusive? Did the Korean War? No, it just kind of stopped. Well, I guess, Vietnam, the U.S. pulled out after China that was the Korean War where China got involved and then just started flooding over all the troops. And it was just such a wave because there were so many of them. But, again, Vietnam's actually quite a nice country nowadays as far as it's grown. But, this is just nonstop. And again, it's about basically selling. It's a business.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're all putting all their toys on display.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's so much hardware pouring in there right now. It's just incredible. Yeah, and here we see, according to unconfirmed reports, Ukraine has deployed 90,000 troops, 450 tanks, 300 armored vehicles, 800 artillery batteries in Donbas. And supposedly there's about 130,000 Russian troops opposite. But there's no plans for invasion. Well, we have a 40-meter high wave. It hits the Icelandic coast. The 120-foot wave is nothing to sneeze at. That's big.
Yep.
Big. Total of 10 waves of 25 meters high, and 4 waves over 30 meters high were recorded. One was so powerful the wave measuring buoy broke down. But the 40-meter was the highest point it managed to measure. The highest waves recorded since 1990. Can you imagine being out in the ice-cold sea like that and seeing a wave like that coming at you if you're in a relatively small boat, or even in a big boat?
No, I would probably just close my eyes, really.
You cry like a baby?
Yeah, very much so. I would find my happy place.
Sinkhole, and this is in Missouri, Joplin, Missouri. Look at that, 25 feet deep. It's about 8 to 10 feet across. And they're working on making it safe over there now. There's been 9 earthquakes under Lake Erie so far in 2022. There's a little swarm happening over there. And, there was a swarm over in the Columbia area, South Carolina, too. And while I'm thinking about it, I'll pull it up just to see. Because we've gotten that was literally deep underground military base activity.
Which they have a lot of. They have so many of this, and it's just something that's ongoing, and they have their little vocabulary words to cover up for what things truly are as they're creating these bases and creating movement like this huge structure all under our country here, and they just keep blaming it on volcanoes, and I think once we understand that they have a cover story for everything, and we start to wake up, that's when we really, really remove the veil. And there has been a lot of this stuff going on over on this side of the country, which is really, really curious. These are areas that don't normally get hit very much, but they're getting hit now. And when I looked at these areas before, kind of viewing underneath, it was very much like the Greys. The Greys were doing what Greys do and making more tunnels, creating more things for underground movement.
Absolutely, as my throat chakra gets attacked there. And it seems like this is trailing off, so I guess they basically have done what they needed to do down there. But we'll, keep an eye on that as well. And we're looking at a solar tsunami that hit Earth 9,200 years ago. Scientists examining ancient ice cores found radioactive evidence of an extreme solar storm. It took place in 7176 BC. And you're smiling.
Well, yeah, because it's one of these huge solar events where everything gets changed. It changed in a twinkle of an eye.
So you're thinking this was another ascension type event.
Oh, huge ascension, because I can look at it and I can feel in it. And it's actually a very glorious time, where there's so many revelations and everything changes. And, beings are now free and you can really start enjoying your place in life after something like this.
And we have powerful eruption at Etna, almost 33,000 feet, and ash emissions. Again, we're going to be trending towards colder. And we have some fireballs. They say meteor over Kentucky and other states. 29 reports, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and Tennessee. And there's videos for you to check out. And again, every time I just feel like they tend to look like ships that just they go through some sort of portal or something.
This has a lot to do with portals, yes.
4 reports of another one, same timing. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. And we have another one over here that's up in Norway. So we got a lot of activity in the skies. The sun's getting busier and busier. As you can see, we hit a minor geomagnetic storm over here. So your KP index at 5 back on the 11th, and then again on the 12th. And here we see, we're dipping into M-class flare, and this is just right at the edge of a M-class again. Sun's waking up. Definitely is. But what the sun's doing is it's trying to help us wake up and evolve.
We were talking with one of our beloved family members yesterday, and she knew that something that the sun had just done was going to have some kind of effect on us. And when I looked into that, the effect is to actually help us evolve up and over the AI that they're trying to lay out. So it's to give us strength to find our freedom.
Yeah, source, the real God with the big G. I mean, there's a lot of benevolent beings that are cheering on us and encouraging us to, come on, you can do it. You guys can do it. Just hang in there. It might feel like we're in a never-ending battle, but the reality is that the system is going to crumble, and that we're going to be entering a period that's going to feel like heaven on earth. But again, we are going through the birth pains of that period. And the sun is a relay, as we have said. And what does it bring? It brings light. What's light? It's information.
Right. We just have to kind of get out of our comfort zone to spread our wings a bit here and there.
So we have another Arctic blast heading on down. You can see Dallas is in that dark blue. It's going to get cold even down to Houston. And, again, this is also a sign of a weakening magnetosphere, because you will have these storms coming on down. But again, anything that we see, it could also be technology involved, as there is technology that would blow people's minds that is used on a regular basis. So yeah, another cold wave coming on down in, and South American crop losses are mounting. Argentina's corn output estimates cut to 51 million, and that's a 6 million decline from the previous forecast. And our good friend David Debine's been talking about this, very sobering, all the info that he's putting out there about the shortages that we'll be building. And again, do what you can do to stock up and be ready, because again, it was about three years ago they told us in December that you should be ready for 6 months without the grid, without any help from the government. And then we have the potential of #3 any moment starting. When there is big war like that, you get rationing. It just is, and it's going to again affect the supply chain even more. So, can you make it 6 months? In my mind, I'm thinking more like 3 years is what I'm thinking, because I do feel that the roughest part of the ride is going to be between where we are right now and 2025.
Right. And I look at these huge shifts as a time when humans are evolving, and we're evolving past certain things. We're evolving into a different way of living. So we got to look at this as a change, and it might be a challenge, but it's okay. We're going to get past it. We're going to have a new way to live.
So you have Paraguay being the 4th largest soybean exporter in the world, but they actually had to import soybeans from Argentina. The crops are not doing well in many areas. We know this. Again, wherever there's water, there's too much. Wherever there's not enough, there's not enough, and it's impacting the food supply. And then just what we need, chicken producers warn about fast-spreading bird flu, which is spreading across the U.S. Of course.
Yeah, I know. Just one thing after the other, right?
Yep. Indiana on Wednesday reported highly pathogenic bird flu on a commercial turkey farm, leading China, South Korea, and Mexico to ban poultry imports from the state. The outbreak put the U.S. industry on edge, and obviously we got labor shortages, food inflation, we have congested ports with tons of cargo ships still there, and who knows what's on some of those. We have millions of people that have come across the border in the last couple of years, and who knows, who's been let in that back door. We might find out soon. Again, all of this points to being as self-sufficient as possible, working with your neighbors, getting ready. And we have dead birds falling from the sky and raining down on cars, hundreds of them. And it's in more than one place, too. As we see this is over in the UK, and we got it in Mexico, too. Hundreds of migratory birds die mysteriously in mid-flight. And is this related to some sort of energy? Is this related to some sort of technology? Is this related to something that's been let out of one of those, blank silver aircraft that are spewing all sorts of crap up there every day?
Well, I know these poor birds definitely ran into something that their very lives are incompatible with, and we can just say that nothing natural was up there for them.
Yeah, and this is what we were touching on before. The IRS has a major backlog going on. Hits nearly 24 million returns, further imperiling the 2022 tax filing season. Well, if they want to just call the whole thing off, it's fine with me. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just, how about, we could just all stop filing taxes.
No, we pay our taxes.
There's going to come a day. There's going to come a day. Because, again, and if I go too deep into this subject, nobody's going to see this video. This is one of those subjects that when you go into how it really works in depth, they just block the video totally out. In fact, I had one video I talked all about how this works, and it got stuck on 86 views, and there was like a couple hundred comments with 86 views. Yeah. And then I think it was you that told me 86 means you take it off the menu.
Yeah, you're out. You are 86th.
86 means the item is off the menu. This is something you can't talk about, how this really works. Because if people knew exactly, we could say, okay, where's our money going? Well, we know a lot of it's just going to buy military equipment, which is making certain people really rich. But if you even just knew how the cycle is, because we think, well, it's going to us, basically. It's going to the country. It's going to the citizens of the U.S. and things like, roads and bridges and services and paying for this and paying for that. Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way, really. That's just a tiny little percentage.
And I know it's a jagged pill to swallow, but as far as looking forward into the future, we need to have our hands untied, and these are beings that can really rope you up and tie you down financially like you've never seen. So we just be good and we pay this, and then we move along and try to get out of the system.
Yeah, absolutely. We have people that we know that are very dear to us, that have just had their lives totally upside down, turned completely upside down because of when they come after you, they come after you.
They do everything.
And again, we don't really own anything in this world. You can be kicked off your own property. Not only that, you could be put into labor. They could kick you off your property, take your food, take your house. The laws are in effect that could make it, that do make it legal for the government in times of national emergency to do those things, and not only take your property, take your food, take your weapons, take your everything, but actually force you into labor. There are laws to that effect. So nearly 24 million taxpayers are still waiting for the IRS to process their tax returns from last year, a number far larger than previously reported by the agency, which, JB, one of the first things he did was he said, we're going to hire 87,000 new IRS agents, basically double the size of it. The inventory of unprocessed returns and related correspondence was provided by the IRS Taxpayer Advocate Service to the tax writing committees in Congress. The backlog will probably further slow service in the 2022 filing season. Pile of work, piling up from last year. They spoke on the condition of being anonymous. Yeah, this is, and what comes to me immediately is that in some ways they obviously know at the top that the U.S. as it is not going to be for too much longer. They know there's a big breakup coming, as well as obviously the clouds on the horizon that are, showing the winds of war. There was a series back when I was a little kid, The Winds of War. It was covering World War II. And we could see that is obvious part of this whole thing that's coming at us. So, do they know that it's all going to dissolve and break down? And, if you're in Texas, you might not be part of the United States, or maybe if you're in Florida, but you might be part of something new. And if you're in California, maybe you'll be a new, what do they have over in China? Provinces?
Yeah, and in other news, we're on Rumble.
Sorry, guys. And this was another thing, too. It was weird because this morning, when I was waking up, then we just stay in bed sometimes and we'll do some pore breathing, or we'll actually do some meditation. And I was getting visions of a rocket. And I was wondering initially, does that mean the war started? But it might have been this that I was getting these visions of. So this Astro rocket tumbled out of control after a launch failure. It was bringing some satellites up. And it's curious. They experienced an issue in today's flight. Do you think there's any possibility that this could be connected to those Starlink satellites perhaps not making it up there? Is it just because of the geomagnetic storms that are minor but underway? If that's the case, everything's going to be falling out of the sky pretty soon, because when we start hitting KPs consistently of 6s and 7s and maybe higher, how's anything going to make it up there if what we have going now is causing these issues? Or is this something else? Is this part of a bigger galactic battle that's going on?
It absolutely is, and they need a good cover story for things that are going on. And gosh, I don't want to be too descriptive because it's hard to get by with the AI, but everything we're seeing here is in alignment with our free will, and it's not necessarily anything that the sun is doing, but more like of a protection action.
Well, just like when they say, defense spending, but yet it's all spent on wars that are not occurring on home soil. So isn't that kind of offensive? Hello, more of this upside down, totally illogical world where it's all about doublespeak and saying the inverse. So there's a lot of satellites that are going up and have been going up that are not necessarily well, they don't have things in there that might be benevolent. Let's just leave it like that. So, yeah, there are some things that the galactics can do in some circumstances and not mitigate free will. So they will take some. Oh, gosh.
Was that guy's name Boris?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Okay.
She's been mentioning some guy, and I just don't know.
I know you guys are.
Now, you know, this is supposed to be Senior Poopy Pants.
Fellow Jamaicans, the Decepticon variant Hobo 19 is still killing fat people. Inflation is destroying our fart jars, and now the Ukraine is being sexually raped. That's why I've asked Congress to order a full-scale attack on Joe Rogan. Not Joe Rogan, the Russian guy. The guy with the shirt. Pootie Tang, man. Bad dude. We gotta come together, man. Get this guy. He's got all the cranes. He's got all the cranes. We need him for the better bill back. The bill back better. The better bill back better plan, man. You say it 3 times fast, pal. You say it. God, piece of shit guy over here. Anyway, my fellow.
Oh, Boris Johnson. No. This is. Although he's got Boris Johnson kind of hair going. Oh boy, guys. Well, anyway, hang in there. Be prepared. As always, you know, this is a spiritual battle on many different levels. Keep your spirits up. Be prepared for the worst. Put out the intentions for the best.
Absolutely. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.